What is going on, family? Welcome back to the channel as your host, EXP. And today I have probably one of the most requested AMAs in the whole of crypto. Managed to track down Maud after several months, and she's here with us. Special guest, the COO of Alephium. Maud, welcome back to the channel. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you so much for having me. It's true. It's true that we've been trying to schedule this. I want to say it's been a couple of months, right? Because first you were unavailable, then I had a bit of holiday. So I'm really excited to do a part two, or at least a second interview with you, because the first one was so much fun. So thank you so much for having me again.
Amazing, amazing to have you back. And I think, you know, at one point, even you was in the States on official Alephium business. You guys have been working tirelessly throughout this whole. And if you remember, just as we announced the gigaton, which was absolutely huge, the market was looking positive. Then the Trump inauguration and the rest was history. How did you manage to cope with those several months of real difficulty, actually, for builders, for investors? What was what was going through your mind during those tough months?
I mean, I have to say that it's difficult, but I think the most difficult part is dealing obviously with the mood of the space, because everyone at the end of last year was expecting across the market for this to be the start of the bull run. Then people expected the election of Trump to kind of have a positive impact in the broader market. I mean, for Bitcoin, it's been fine, but ultimately. But and so I think the hardest part was really, it still is really the mood in the space, and the emotion, because we are in an environment that remains very emotional. From also during this time, like a lot of projects struggle financially across the space, and so I would say for us, we've always taken an approach of being pretty lean as a team. So I would say we were lucky in that sense that we didn't have that on top of everything, because I know that across the space, a lot of projects, big, small, doesn't matter. No matter which part of the Web3 space they are, you see a lot of projects that either completely shut down or drastically reduce team and the team size and things like this. And so thankfully for us, this isn't something that we had to do. But it's still always, it's you work hard, and when the mood around is not super positive, it's
It's tough.
I could have had I wish I had like one interview with you a week, because I feel like you're such a positive, and you have, again, like I told you before we started this interview, such a lovely energy that you just put the smile on everyone's face. So
Oh, thank you, Maud. I'm humbled. I mean, it's not been easy for us in the space. I think it's almost like the cycles kind of age people, because the one thing that people don't really get is liquidity and how the macro works. So one thing that's actually been helping us holding our bags, accumulating, is really pivoting away from this idea of quick, almost like fast food style. I want a meme coin type of return, just like that, as opposed to looking at the liquidity cycle, looking at the business cycle. And before we even go, like, I know you are at the heart of it. There's a lot of stable coin development. I mean, Switzerland is the heart of, and by the way, guys, ALF is, I believe you're headquartered over there in
yeah.
Switzerland. So you are at the heart of the new financial world order. What's the scene like in Switzerland and stable coins, and with a context to ALF at the moment?
I mean, I would say Switzerland is before I jump into this, I also want to say, I also feel like when you were touching on, cycle changing and the market changing, I also feel like as we see more adoption, the market are going to more and more start to behave like institutional markets versus what we may have experienced in the previous cycle, because you have more and more project, more and more regulation, more and more adoption. So, I mean, I'm not an expert, so actually you can also completely disregard what I say, but I'd say in my head it would make sense that we would see you know, that the behavior of the market tend to go towards other more adopted markets. And then on back to Switzerland. Switzerland is actually such an interesting country, generally speaking, but also in the crypto space, because you really have, it's a little bit, it really has like two very distinct identities. So you have really obviously a big stronghold of traditional finance, compliance, lawyers, and you have very, very early adopters like the Ethereum Foundation. Is based in Zug. I think they're in Zug. Yes, but they're based in Switzerland. That's for sure. And so you have a lot of the big foundation of the very early project, and a lot of that happened in Switzerland, but also with very, very much so the TradFi, again, compliance, legal things. But you see also, for example, in Neuchâtel, which is where our entity is, you have actually a very strong community of Bitcoin maximalists, very privacy-oriented people that have been, and so you really have kind of the blockchain ethos maximalist and the slightly more, you know, reform TradFi a little bit. So that duality makes Switzerland a very, very interesting country, from full of opportunities and with very different DNA at the end of the day.
Wow, I always wanted to ask you actually. You reminded me of the Bitcoin Alliance. I never really understood. Like, do you have to kind of like, because I know Alephium is part of the Swiss Bitcoin Alliance. Could you explain that to us a little bit? What the alliance is?
So it's more of a network of blockchain and crypto related projects that assemble around principle. As a member of the association, we also get to vote on some direction of the association. And so it's also a way for professionals that evolve in the same space with the same value to exchange experience at the end of the day. So for us, it made sense early on to tap into that network. We're also part of the UTXO Alliance, even though I have to say, like, the past 6 to almost 12 months I've been really busy with work, so we haven't had time, or at least I haven't had time, because I was the main point of contact for the UTXO Alliance, to give it the love that it deserves and to contribute more there, because there was a lot to do on the Alephium side. But actually we're bringing a couple more people into the team, including someone that will be head of ecosystem, and so that there's a little bit more manpower to manage that kind of relationship and make the best, you know, and really be more proactive, because there's only so much hat I can wear nicely, you know, eventually.
It goes back to the point you made earlier, and I don't think the investors really truly treat crypto projects as sometimes as a company, as a business, with, you know, people's lives being, you know, you're working for a company, you're especially in a decentralized way. I love the fact that you kept your team together through the tough times, because I know few projects that are really struggling, and the devs went, and, you know, people just see a chart there that's flat, but behind the scenes. So I love the fact that you mentioned the human aspect, or the impact, or the fight to keep business going, building the project. And in doing so, I think you guys have done a fantastic job. I'm just looking at a list of your partnerships, and it's great. I mean, it's good to see that you've continued to develop the project while at the same time making sure you've obviously you guys have actually stayed ahead of the whole competition here. And let me just share the screen with everybody so they can see here. And I wanted to kind of like, because like I said to you, our style, like everybody on this live stream is either new to Alephium or they are OGs. You know, we've been in it for such a long time, and it's been a while since we had a refresher. So I'm going to ask you about a few of these, kind of like, what is the kind of partnership with, for example, Bitmain? Of course, we know what you've done with all the wallets, and thank you for the Ledger one as well as the Tangent one, because that's pretty cool. But as a proof of work project, what's happening with Bitmain? Because that was one of the most bullish things, in my opinion, before we had that whole market collapse earlier.
I mean, it's crazy because I feel like, but I mean, Bitmain was a year ago already, and it feels like it was even longer than this, like 5 years ago almost.
Right.
So as a proof of work project, our coin is emitted through mining. So it's issued through mining. So miners are an essential part to the network, to secure the network, to process transaction, but also they get alpha reward, and this is how the supply gets issued at the end of the day. And so we started as we were always ASIC friendly. The reason we chose to be ASIC friendly is because first, as a proof of work network, the security is directly correlated to the hash rate. So the higher the hash rate, meaning the more miners you have and the more powerful miners you have on chain, the higher is the security of your network, because the harder it is to attack. So ASICs are it's a way to secure the network faster and also a little bit more reliably, because the ASICs machine are designed specifically for your coin. So a Bitcoin miner cannot mine an Alephium, cannot mine on Alpha, and vice versa. So you have manufacturer like Bitmain, but we also have Gold Shell and Ice River, who also developed ASIC miner for Alephium. They have to design a custom chip that will mine Alephium specifically. So, and that R&D is very expensive. So for so many of the leading ASIC manufacturers to have decided to build a dedicated ASIC for Alephium, it's a strong signal. And yeah, so it helped us increase the hash rate of the chain like crazy. I think it increased more than 20,000 times, basically in the past year, pretty much. And so this is essential, because with more hash rate, it also it makes it more comfortable to, for example, reduce block time, reduce certain aspects that can impact user experience. So we can improve a lot of aspects that impact user experience with a higher hash rate, because the security of the network is better. So that was a big transformation from a chain that was GPU mining. We did have FPGA, which is kind of the in-between, more specialized hardware, but you can still mine different things with the same machine if you reprogram it. And so that was like a pretty big shift, huge impact on the hash rate. And what was really nice is, because usually it's rare that GPU miners and ASICs miner, usually they are different crowd. Because, with GPU, you can basically mine any coin that is GPU mining. So it's usually communities that are early in the project and that, mine different proof of work coin. And usually once your chain become on ASICs, because it's not profitable to mine with GPU anymore, usually they move on. And what was really nice is, honestly, a big chunk of the GPU community moved also into the ASIC space with us, like into the ASIC era. For some of them, it was the first time. And what is cool is, because we had several manufacturers, we also have different type of ASICs. So ASICs that are home miners that you could plug at your home, and and so you can, that have good efficiency, good power, and good hash rate. But you also have what I call the industrial miners. Those one you can't plug at home unless you don't mind not hearing anything and needing, or if you live somewhere really cold or something. And so very quickly we had miners for different type of people. So it was really nice that we could keep with us some of our GPU miners, because they've been supporting the network since day one.
That was amazing because that was, and the reason I asked you was because people tend to forget things very, very quickly. In this industry, they have such a short memory. But if you remember, like I had friends that were waiting for in the queue for the minus or the ASICs to be shipped, and that was actually at the time something that was so bullish, and it still is. I just want to remind the audience, hey, look, don't forget that side of things. Don't forget the fact that there is an ASIC miner. There's a plug and play, something that you can actually earn Alephium with every day. If you don't mind the noise, like Maud said, or if you're struggling for winter heating, then get one of the industrial ones.
No, you also have like hosting solutions, like people who will manage this for you. I wouldn't say. I definitely wouldn't recommend to just learn on your own how to run like a ASIC farm. I think that's a very specific business, and some people you'd be competing with people who have years and years of experience. They are incredibly, like, it's crazy. Like I could talk about this for hours because I was actually not familiar with the mining industry really. And it's fascinating if you see what goes into setting up a mining farm, maintaining it, the cost, finding the place, negotiating the electricity rate. Like you hear, like, and also I heard stories about people making sure exactly where in the farm your miner is, because if you're at the beginning, it's just,
it's insane.
Fascinating. It's a fascinating world, but yeah. Not...
I live in Abu Dhabi, so there's plenty of sun here. Maybe I should get into mining. It's boiling all year round, and no, that's brilliant. No, thank you for again, guys.
How did we not meet? Like I was in Abu Dhabi, and then I was in Dubai.
When you announced the Gigaton, I was actually away. I was kicking myself.
For token 2049 in Dubai. Where
yeah, you guys were actually in Yas Island as well, where you filmed the whole Gigaton's interview and announcement of the partnership. I was out of the country, unfortunately, but next time maybe we'll definitely catch each other on the next big show here in Dubai or in Singapore or something.
Yeah,
but yeah, I was like, oh my God, you guys are so close to us. Like I knew every single like.
I didn't realize you were there.
Yeah, I've been in the UAE for like 20 years. So I used to live in Dubai. I have an office in Dubai, but my main residence is in Abu Dhabi. Such a
feels a little calmer. If I had to choose where to live, I think I would enjoy Abu Dhabi a bit more. But to be fair, I was in Abu Dhabi in December, so of course the weather was so nice. And then Dubai was it was 40 degrees, sweating, and I spent half of my day stuck in traffic. So
no, honestly, it's the traffic in Dubai is ridiculous. I mean, Abu Dhabi is probably the best city in the region. And you know what's funny? Like you'll run into random crypto founders here because a lot of them have moved.
Yeah, this I hear a lot. I know, for example, a lot of people from France actually moved to the UAE, both for safety and also financial reason. And I mean, I think the UAE government has really made it a very welcoming environment for a lot of crypto projects, because there's been a convergence of projects.
There is unbelievable. Like they've been nothing short of. I think it's probably going to end up being a global leader because we've got the regulators, VARA, who've just literally unblocked the entire industry. So you've got the Dubai Multi-Commodity Center, the DMCC, which takes care of the licensing, and you got the regulators as VARA. Regulation is absolutely perfect. It's, of course, tax-free environment here. So they've done an unbelievable job. And more now, at least half of the year, is probably one of the best places to be, super safe. I can't remember the last time I locked my front door or the gates to the house. You know, the keys are always, and then I end up going to London, forgetting the phone in the car. I'm like, oh my God, I need to get back before they put my take my stuff. But that's next time. We'll definitely show you around and maybe show you a bit of the culture here, as it's really cool.
But you know, in winter, it's like
Yeah,
I
winter
haven't
time.
been have not been programmed for that kind of heat. So it's like
It's incredibly hot.
over in that kind
It's
of winter.
I wanted to with partnerships. I always wanted to understand what the relationship with Flux is.
So I think Flux has been in the proof of work. Flux is kind of a really well-known project, you know, in the proof of work space. And I think because of their history being there, and because also what kind of project, right? It's a deeping project. They've been really making a lot of, especially in the beginning of Alephium, they made a lot of effort to kind of act as a, I don't know, sorry, it's Friday night, so my words are horribly half
Well,
of them are already gone. But you know, as a way they try to bring together, I will go about it different. They try to bring together proof of work ecosystem and to really emulate that community. So at their own level, you know, to act as a thought leader and to bring together the proof of work project. And because they are a decentralized infrastructure, we also have you can run your node on Flux, on the Flux infrastructure. There's already packages that are running on Flux, so in their marketplace. I don't know if that's still the case, but at the time, because I think one of the DApp that was doing this at the time, I think they stopped. But you also, as a project, you can also make packages, for example, for the front end of your DApp, so that if people want to run their own instance of your DApp, you know, in the spirit of decentralization, you can also make packages available in the marketplace so people can run your DApp and host it themselves, basically. And so, but they also gave us a lot of visibility, a lot of support, you know, around the proof of work space. We are also available in the Zelcore wallet, which is also, you know, Flux adjacent, the wallet as well. So yeah, it's been I think we've been in Flux, I want to say partnering with Flux almost since the very early days of Alephium. They've always been very, very good at giving visibility to the entire proof of work space.
I love that. I think that is. I've got a very good friend called Cliff from Dynex, and we're always talking about, you know, projects supporting each other, and that's really positive. I love the fact that you guys are working with other projects in the, you know, in the industry, specifically with proof of work. I think Flux is a great project, and that's a very good synergy there. No, thank you for clarifying that one up. But this is the one that I wanted to bring you on to, because everybody has seen it. I don't know, guys, if you've not seen it, I'll retweet this, but Alephium 2.0 is probably the best place to segue into. And yeah, just give us a quick breakdown of what ALPH 2.0 is, or phase 2, I should say.
I mean, so to take you there, I have to take you back a little bit, right? So ALPH has been on mainnet for now soon, getting closer to 4 years. And obviously the first, in the beginning when we launched, it was about really the low level foundation of the network, the mining infrastructure. Then, and that was kind of what happened about mainnet launch. Then we had a first upgrade where we improved the development environment to make it easier for people to come and build. We had smart contract from day one, but the VM wasn't very evolved. We didn't have a lot of, the SDK was, I don't think we had I think maybe we had a very simple SDK. And then we had, the first upgrade was really about laying the foundation for builders. And then we had a third upgrade that was about continuing improving the virtual machine, the smart contract language. This is something that continues with every upgrade, because as usage grow and the industry move forward, there's more and more things we can implement at the virtual machine level to make the life of developers so much more easier and make dApps more secure. And this is also when we started to make improvement, I want to say, to the user experience with reducing block time, because one of the key criticism of proof of work is that it's slow. It's not scalable, and it's also slow. And so scalability, that was addressed from mainnet launch, but our original block time was 64 seconds, which was still pretty fast for a proof of work blockchain. But if you compare to the block time that people are used to on proof of stake ecosystems, where you have most of the dApp built, still feels slow. And so we reduced the block time to first 16 seconds. And earlier this year, we had the Danube upgrade, which brought a lot of improvement in terms of performance for the chain, performance and speed for the chain, because we reduced block time further. It also brought a lot of improvement to the virtual machine and tools for developers and automation and abstraction for the developers. And so it means that now, after 3 network upgrade, Alephium as a chain has really reached a point where the technology is really solid. It's solid. It has a performance that competes with proof of stake chain. All of the friction that come with our scalability solution sharding, we've implemented solution at the network level to make this invisible. For the end users, we still need to deploy this across the different wallets, and takes time then to spread once the feature has been released. But we really reach a stage in the technical maturity of the chain. And so obviously in the phase 2, there's further improvements at the chain level, like of course continuing to potentially reduce block time further. But more importantly, one of the key things is, how do we bring more utility into Alephium, and how do we leverage Alephium within the Alephium ecosystem beyond just at the miner level, you know? And because we're a proof of work chain that has a technology that is made for smart contracts, we can leverage protocol on top of the chain to really bring an additional layer of value for Alephium, which in turn brings value into the ecosystem, right? So it was really about, how do we create synergy and more value into the Alephium ecosystem, and how can we have this create a flywheel that benefit the entire ecosystem. So that, I just want to check that I didn't bore you to death.
No, this is brilliant, because it's again, you know, like you said, the phase 2, because this was really exciting, but I believe it just kind of went under the radar because of market dynamics or whatever, but just people don't realize, like, you know.
I mean, we announced it today, right? So it's also
yeah. yeah. Yeah, but that's great. I think the you know, a lot of the stuff that it's so exciting. It just feels like first time. That's why we had to go all the way back to ASICs, because it's just, this is like incredibly bullish. And when I show people the metrics, like, they can't believe, like, for example, this is like, guys, let's just remind ourselves what we're talking about. We're talking about potentially a multi-billion-dollar project sitting at 35 million in valuation right now, and all of the wallets are done, all of the, you know, the upgrade is done, Danube, then Rhone. There's one question that always comes up, and you always repeat it, even on spaces, like the one we talked about with the House of Chimera. The proof of less work reduces consumption by energy consumption by 87%.
Large scale, yes.
Yeah. Are there any other, because I can't think of any other green proof of work layer 1 that can even come close to that. Could you just give us a? I know I'm jumping around from, but it's probably part of.
No worries. I mean, so the let's say some of the inspiration for proof of work was actually I think research paper that was circulating around I think there's a Bitcoin newsletter, that was going around, and some people have wrote white papers around how do you make exploring ways to make proof of work a little bit more efficient. And so part of the design of proof of less work is inspired from some of the white paper, from some of those white paper, which if you go look at the proof of less work white paper, they are cited there. And so I think, when we launched Alephium, Alephium was launched in 2021, but obviously the work to build Alephium started much before that, of course. And if you remember, at that time, it was the time where proof of work was the big bad wolf, whatever. It was really a lot of things were a lot of things were put together in a very confusing way, but mining was the worst thing in the world, and so it was a time where it made sense to investigate, and just generally speaking, to investigate how can you make proof of work more efficient. So it was really, it's not about stepping away from proof of work. It's the opposite. It's like we believe proof of work is the right consensus to ensure decentralization, but maybe there's a way to make it more energy efficient. And this is kind of what drove the design of proof of less work. And I mean, but now, if you look at the way, not just the crypto industry, but the broader, like, especially the energy sector looks at mining, now it is being leveraged for, it is being praised, and rightfully so, as a very, very efficient tool to finance the development of more sustainable infrastructure, because mining has a lot of very unique property that makes it extremely, extremely beneficial for to actually work in combination in renewable energy grids, because they can absorb excess electricity in a way that is profitable. And it's it's actually the only way today to finance to finance profitably more renewable infrastructure and green energy without needing government subsidy and things like this. So it's really nice to see how the perception around proof of work has evolved over the past years compared to the view of proof of work when we started. But yeah, it's I mean, I think when we spoke last time, we dived a little bit into how proof of less work works, and I think I've talked about this a lot. But if you
we find
I'm happy.
We have plenty of references. I think the essence. I mean, again, in a world that is green conscious anyway, energy reduction is quite important, and I never leave it out of the overall discussion, because I think for me it separates the thinking behind building Alephium, because it is an area that is heavily energy intensive. So no, thank you for revisiting that. Got a couple of more questions for you. Then I'm going to ask you a one question from the community that I've always had. So, and I know you're very impartial to this. You don't have to say which project or whatever. You can see what I've got on the screen. In the Alephium roadmap, some of these projects do pop up. The fantastic ecosystem that actually not a lot of people know about. And I'd encourage everybody to go and see the projects building on Alephium. If Maud was to pick few projects, right?
So I will not pick, but
okay.
What I can do, instead of picking, I can give you some of the most recent update from the ecosystem, because I don't want to pick. I think I want to say, like, I think anyone that is building on Alephium, first, I am so grateful for that. And anyone, no matter what they are building, they are doing something extremely positive for the ecosystem. And so I cannot choose. They are really so many amazing projects, so many amazing builders into the ecosystem. but I can give you some of the latest updates, for example.
The alpha.
Generally speaking, so it's not it's half chronological, and I'll go a little bit broader. I'll include like it's over the past month and a half, kind of what happened over the past months and a half. So we had so this one is on the exchange side. We have the full Uphold integration. So this is a broker essentially, but that is accessible to US. So that is, or like that is today, I think, the biggest venue for US citizens should they want to enter the Alephium ecosystem. And that was something we were on Uphold before, but it was just synthetic trading. So you could not deposit, you could not withdraw. And they have completed the full integration, which, you know, the US is always a complicated jurisdiction. And I think this for the US market was, you know, definitely a big improvement. We've also, and staying in this direction, we've also done a lot of work to integrate into the mobile and desktop wallet on-ramps, also to make it's not so on-ramps, to make it easy for people to onboard the Alephium ecosystem, you know, from the wallet without, you know, needing to go through an exchange and things like this, trying to make the onboarding into the ecosystem as smooth as possible, and that you can do it in a single place. We've also actually, that was earlier this year. We now have an in-app browser into the mobile wallet, which means that in the wallet, from the mobile wallet, you can actually interact with any of the dApps that you've showed, that you were scrolling through. You can actually scroll through them directly from your Alephium wallet in your mobile, click on it, and within the app, connect to the dApp and interact this to really try and streamline the experience across the ecosystem. We've had obviously some hardware wallets. We've talked about this. So we've had, of course, Ledger, Tangem, OneKey, SafePal, and actually SafePal recently integrated Alephium into its extension wallet. We had, and now in some of the upcoming launch that we have a prediction market that is about to launch on mainnet. We have WeMine, which is basically tokenization of miners, and of hash power, so that people actually can more easily benefit from mining. It's not just Alephium mining, it can be Bitcoin mining, it can be, and they have different vault and things like this. They are also, they finished their test nets, and they are about to launch on mainnet. You have Vault Pay, which allows you to buy gift card, like for example, Uber Eats, or even a prepaid Apple Pay card and things like this with ALPH, but also a number of other currency. With DIA, which is the Oracle, we released randomness, because we had the price oracle. So now we have the randomness oracle, and we are looking into, they also have RWA. So basically just bringing on-chain real-world data. So this is something that we're looking into. We also have, of course, ALPH Banks was one of the most anticipated launch for the ecosystem that has launched on mainnet, and now they released a new strategy to work more in more synergy with the ecosystem, and they are merging with Vordex, which is an upcoming perpetual DEX as well. You have Links. They have a wallet where they have integrated Alephium, and they also have a peer-to-peer platform. They will have lending similar to Morpho, and many other kind of a one-stop DeFi for the ecosystem with DEX aggregator and many other things. We've had also learning courses, so with Learnify, where you kind of gamify the onboarding into the ecosystem. That also launched very recently. We had Prime Vault integration. So this is custody solution. So this is more for this is not going to impact retail user that much, but for businesses or projects on Alephium, or businesses or company that want to have a custody solution that has that is integrated into DeFi, Alephium DeFi, but also many other chain DeFi with like proper permission, when you need 2-3 signature to authorize certain operation and things like that. So this was a very important how to say, foundation to having the ecosystem, so that really any type of project that comes, having a strong custody solution. This is something, as we are getting more, I would say institutional, because maybe that's the easiest way to describe them now. As you get more institutional project considering to build, having a custody solution is a necessity, and it's already used by a couple of projects, including the tokenization of the Hashrate tokenization project, because they obviously are, they have to manage Bitcoin that are mined, that they have to distribute, Alephium that is mined, that they have to distribute, and so they can manage all of that very seamlessly with Prime Vault, with a high level of security. And that was kind of pretty much all of that just happened in the last month and a half.
Wow. So
I'm sure, and I'm sure right now I don't have my stuff open, and I know I will open my Telegram or something, and I will see that I have forgotten stuff.
Wow. So
I'm sure I will have forgotten stuff, and I sincerely apologize to anyone I have forgotten. This is just a snapshot. If I had to go through everything, I think we'd be there.
I think you dropped a classic right now, because I just, Alephium's going to be on Uphold. So
it is now.
It is now.
Yeah,
guys, this is the alpha that I've been telling you. I was trying to get out of Maud like a couple of months ago when you were in the US, and you only said I'm working on something. Like, I kind of figured, but this is absolute alpha. This is huge, because
it's not really alpha, because that was announced already a couple of months ago. But it shows that sometimes
it takes a while.
In ways that it's so easy to just miss stuff. Like, it's so hard to keep track with everything, because
this is huge. I mean, for me,
a million stuff happen,
when the market turns now, when the average person is able to just browse through what's undervalued or what to buy, and they see these, they see alpha on Uphold, that is absolutely super mega. In my opinion, any project that makes it to Uphold, like you said, lots of regulations, but the US, make no mistake, that is one of the most powerful markets for crypto, and congratulations for doing that. That is something that, guys, especially we've got a lot of US ALPH community members here as well. No, congratulations, Maud. That is super, super dope. I mean, the amount of projects, like I'm in the ecosystem of probably a bit more than the average person. So I kind of follow the roadmap, and I try to join the alpha from this page to what's going on in real life. But you've mentioned a lot there. And like I said, we don't mind having you back with the notepad, so you can
next I can do that, but I wasn't sure where they discuss. I mean, I would have notes, but then it's just we need to go through it first, so we can know how long this call needs to be, right? We planned for an hour. You and I haven't spoken in months, so we had, we briefly touched on the Danube upgrade. We started talking about the phase 2 a little bit, but we didn't dive too deep into that. So, but I told you, whenever you want to have a conversation, I'm very happy to do any deep dive into any topic that you want. It's always a pleasure.
We're going to get you back, because this is just, today was a good day for the markets. Finally, of course, Jerome Powell giving us a slither of a hope, which is very good. Good to see the market bouncing. But it's almost like it's been, like you said at the beginning, it's just like when the portfolios are red, it's probably the hardest time. People's psychology is so insane. It's unbelievable. So they will sell at a loss and they will buy at the top. This is just market dynamics. Nobody can explain in any that this is the, an investor will come in, and it happens at the Wall Street level. It's a phenomena. Like, people will buy something and not hold it long enough to see it mature. So this is great that we're touching back on a lot of these, Uphold, Bitmain, the roadmap, the stuff that you guys have accomplished. The average person will always look at the price and think that this is it, but this just demonstrates a small amount of what's going on with ALPH. So thank you for clarifying that. What is the biggest challenge for Alephium for the foreseeable future, like the next 12 to 18 months? What would you say you guys are working flat out on that will improve the project even more?
I mean, I think it's the phase 2 that you mentioned. I think, we spent not a lot, the amount of time that was required to build really powerful foundation to really show what a proof of work layer 1 can actually do, and that it is more than just it can do things other chain cannot do, and that we talked a lot about the proof of work aspect. I think security is also a big aspect on Alephium. I don't think, and more people with your community and everything, I'm sure you are in touch with way more people than I am. I don't think I've ever met anyone in crypto that hasn't been hacked, lost money because they did something stupid. And so I think if we want generally as a space to onboard more people, and more importantly to onboard people for true utility and more than just speculation. Not that speculation is bad, but just if we want more use cases than that, you need to have an environment that is safe for people to do so. And when the most adopted environment are basically even experienced users, lose funds, get hacked, that's just not, it just means we're not there yet. And so I think we've also done a lot of work on this. It's a choice that we get asked about a lot, not being EVM compatible, having our own virtual machine. And so we spent a lot of time, making sure that our environment brought something to the space that was needed, that is different, that we could have chosen, made our life probably 1,000,000 times easier, but then we wouldn't be bringing anything useful to the space, Then it's like, great, it's basically Ethereum, just in proof of work, because you have the same development environment. And so it was really important for us. But now that we've done that work and we've matured it to a point that it is competitive in the current L1 landscape, it's okay, how do we take it further? Because there are so few proof of work ecosystem, DApp ecosystem that are native on the layer 1, that there are so many things that are not explored. Again, it's like, how can you create more utility for the coin, more utility and potentially yield for the coin by leveraging the DApp that you can build on top? And this is why one of the big part of this phase 2 is having a core DApp, taking inspiration from models like Hyperliquid, but also Injective actually did this, of having a core DApp that works in synergy with the protocol to bring more opportunities for ALPH holders, because you can, in this case, we envision the core DApp as something that will increase the utility of app in a way that is beneficial for the ecosystem, and that can be, again, start the flywheel also to start decentralizing the project more. So the idea is to have a DApp that will allow, that will generate fees, that will allow people to stake ALPH, and ALPH staker will be rewarded, like long-term participant will be able to be rewarded basically for being long-term participant by getting part of the fee. The rest would be for buyback and burn. So again, kind of adding more deflationary forces to the tokenomics that we already have with proof of less work. And that can be something that can work very synergistically with the ecosystem, because the ALPH staker can be,
Sorry.
No,
Good night.
No. There are things way more important than crypto in life.
No, she's managed to infiltrate the studio. I'll just.
Well, last time it was my dog. This is a much nicer.
This time is. Good night.
Oh.
Good night. I'll come and get you in a minute, okay? Love you. Where's Mary? Go to Mary. Sorry about that, guys. You've met my daughter live on the Alephium AMA, which always happens to bring.
I am honored.
It always happens to bring the best. Like, last time we had your dog making a full appearance.
We tried to get them on stage with us tonight. They were not motivated.
They're not having it.
I tried. You were there. You saw me calling for 5 minutes, and they were just like, "Nah, it's not a good day for us."
That is, yes. Sorry. Continue. I had like the thought that I had was the cycle would be, after Trump anyway, seeing Daniel, because every time we had some killer announcements, like this was for me, I still go back to this, the Gigaton, like people don't really understand what this partnership was. And guys, tonight is the first of hopefully many visits by Maud to our community, to the ALPH family worldwide. But I wanted to plan this tonight because I wanted to go back in order to go forward. What's the latest? What's going on? And where do you guys see this progressing? This is huge.
Yeah. So are we still talking about phase 2?
Phase 2, and then sorry, Princess kind of threw me off.
You went somewhere. I don't know if I'm there with you.
I'll come to you. Okay. Don't worry, guys. She's an ALPH holder, by the way, and maybe a mascot soon. Sorry, I'll let you finish phase 2. Then I'll drag you over to.
Sorry. And actually, I was actually seeing now because I was looking at you and not so much at the rest of the screen. So I see. Now I'm thinking about a project I forgot to mention, but we do, because I see someone I was asking about any AI using the ALPH ecosystem. So we have a couple of projects in the ecosystem leveraging AI and more tools. And so we have there's a couple of things. There's Ralph Builder that has been there for a while to help basically building an AI that helps people building. There was also Grumpy, I forgot the full name, I'm sorry. And then we also had Encoder, which is basically, it doesn't really leverage AI to my understanding, but to some extent to really, I mean, in itself, it is an AI, just helping people translate Solidity code into Ralph. Sorry, I got sidetracked as well. But if I go back to phase 2, so yeah, the idea is how can we have the DApp will not take any fees. The entire fees will go back to the ecosystem or to buy back and burn. So it will either go to ALPH staker, to liquidity providers, or be buy back and burn. And then what we want to explore is leveraging ALPH stakers for governance decisions. So allocating some budget that then ALPH staker can vote on the usage through basically funding community initiatives that will be voted on by ALPH stakers. So starting to, slowly but surely take the path of decentralization at more level than just the consensus level, So it's pretty exciting, and this can work.
I wanna go.
Sorry, guys. One second. I'll just take her to.
Right, we've been talking for 55 minutes.
Yeah, you can continue. 1 second. Sorry.
No, I'm good. Everyone can take a break, drink some water, and I don't know. I will talk to myself, or maybe I stop talking. Probably that's better. Maybe I can talk. I will talk on my own because I see no one. So this is a bit weird, but I also don't want you guys to just be left unattended. And so really, I want to say this phase 2 is a stage where we try and connect everything, connect the ecosystem to the governance of the project, bring more utility and yield into Alephium, and basically having all of the pieces work together. And where, by bringing more attention and usage to ALPH, this brings more attention in turns into the ecosystem. And this is communicating vase. I think this is how it says. Maybe that's just a French thing and that means nothing in English, but communicating vase, you know, it's like the more attention we bring to the ecosystem, the more utility we bring into ALPH. This is something that basically trickles down into the ecosystem, and with leveraging the ALPH staker to fund community initiative, to fund grants, this is also a way to continue developing the ecosystem and give the ecosystem the means to shape itself and to continue to evolve. And that is it. But maybe one thing I can say again is, of course, in parallel to the work on the core dApp, there will be also more R&D going forward. I mentioned already block time reduction, because we think we can go a little bit further, which would really make, for example, use cases a lot more competitive. Like, for example, order book decks can be very, very interesting, but they makes a lot more sense when you have very, very fast block time. And so we think we can take this a little bit further. And yeah, and of course, you're back.
The life of a father.
I'm sorry. At first I stopped talking, and then I was like, okay, this is gonna be so annoying for the people around. So then I was just talking to myself.
No, this is great. This is great. I do apologize. She wanted to say hi to you and the community.
This is so sweet. Can I ask how old she is? You don't have to say.
No, but she's 6. She's 6. Yeah, she just turned 6, and she's always she's kind of like, she's used to me having the studio in the house, so she'll come in, and sometimes I used to have Pepe on my screen, and then she started like, she's like, Daddy, I just want a meme coin. I'm like, wait a minute.
Podcast. It will be so she I mean, if she likes it, you will make her, she can start her own podcast. I mean, if she has you as a, you know, as a teacher, I'm sure she will by the time she's 8, she'll have a bigger community than you have.
Then honestly, she's like, every day she comes over, she puts on the headset, she's like, hey guys, welcome.
This is so sweet.
Brilliant.
Be able to, you know, to start sharing this with your kid. Like, that's lovely.
Somebody said Dejan's daughter. Dejan's daughter already. That's brilliant. Sorry guys, this is always special with ALPH, because the way me and Maud kind of talk anyway, it's so relaxed, and it does get across the message, because we're normal people. We've got dogs, we've got kids. Hey.
Yeah.
Brilliant, Maud.
Sometimes it's, yes.
Well, this is
here, indeed.
Somebody said it's always a classic. Yes, events do happen in this live stream, and no, it was funny tonight, because we were trying to get the dogs up. They didn't want to have it. They're like, good night, we're going to bed. And yeah, my daughter gate crashed the party, but people are actually saying
but it's good. I think your daughter was a much better interruption than my dog. Anyway, my dog, the thing is, most of the time, the right time, let's say from a time zone perspective, for me, is to do the space at around 4 to 6 p.m. because the US is awake in the morning. It's not too late for Asia. And so it's always at that time. It also happens to be the time where my dog expects to be fed. And so he's, of course, way more interested in what the fuck I'm doing. What am I doing? I should be feeding him, and why am I not doing this? So it's easier to get them to participate. But actually, a few community members actually did some meme coin out of my dogs, and actually leveraging AI, you can actually go and talk to my dogs on Twitter.
Oh, wow.
And on Telegram, both of them. And it was funny, like they asked me about, I gave them some information about the personalities of my dog, so that the AI agent kind of have the personality of my dog. So
yeah, that's great. What's the name of the dog?
I have 2. So I have a German Shepherd that is called Milo, who is a 4-year-old, and I have an Australian Shepherd who is 10-year-old, who is called Lukai.
Wow.
And okay, they keep me busy. You know, it's like
and they have their own meme coin. Now you're gonna see the Alf family going to search on Twitter straight away. I know how. Let's find Maud's dogs. Brilliant.
I feel like that's something like in every project I see, because I see this. I think it was on Caspa. They made a meme coin out of the cat of Shay. So I think it's kind of a classic of, you know, finding an animal out for the community to make into a meme coin. But
that's actually, you know, honestly, there was there were a couple of like good meme coins built on Alf.
yeah,
Guys, we're not advocating for meme coins, but some of them have been actually holding quite solid. I won't say whether I hold them or not, but yeah, check out the ecosystem, because again, you know, meme coins have been, some say, to the detriment of the space with pump fun and all of these things launching. But any layer one with smart contracts could easily attract the meme crowd as well. I know Casper had difficulties in terms of the you know, the smart contracts, because that KRC20 run was just like such a, I would say,
I didn't follow closely, but I think people expected the KRC20, I don't know how it was called, but to be smart contracts. But at the protocol level, they are maybe closer to inscription, or if you remember from back of the early days, colored coin on Bitcoin. You know what I'm talking about, because that was before, around the same time as the ERC20 came out. But I think the way they are approaching smart, like at the layer one level, they can't really have smart contract because they don't have a VM. They can have things that are similar to what you can have with Bitcoin. So inscription and things like this, but they are looking, I think they're taking the layer 2 route to bring smart contract into the ecosystem. But yeah.
Wow. That was, you know, everybody rushed in, and it was just, it didn't work. Got a couple of questions for you. I know we are approaching the hour, or just approached the hour, but guys, if you've got any specific questions for Maud, we'll do quick fire here. And I promise we'll get her back on the on the channel. But this question for Magnus: how will the new app with staking affect the other DeFi apps in the ecosystem? Solid question.
Yeah, so the idea is that they work in synergy, right? The idea is to bring, there are many ways where DeFi app can build on top of, for example, again, the stake ALPH, or even the core DApp. At the end of the day, it's also a way for the ecosystem to finance more development of dApps. There are many ways. A number of dApp have already communicated about ways they want to interact and leverage the core dApp with themselves. The idea is really not, it's to, if you look at ecosystem that had this, that are very successful, again, I mentioned before, Hyperliquid, Injective, it's really also about, Alephium has a very special tech. And the idea is to also give strong foundation, open source foundation that people can build upon, can work synergistically. And also, again, the more utility we bring into ALPH, this is something that raised the entire ecosystem. So we hope that actually brings a lot of synergy through the ecosystem. And again, through leveraging stakers as voter, actually empowers the ecosystem to, again, decide of its direction on its own.
Brilliant stuff. I hope, Magnus, that answers your question. If there's no more questions, I think the biggest takeaway tonight has been, this is a different team. These guys are resilient. These guys are always building, and of course, with great leadership. Any other? I mean, should we get you back for more alpha? Do you? I mean, I know you don't want to name drop projects in your role. That's always the responsible thing to do.
Also, I genuinely think that, I'm biased, but I think everyone brings something very positive to the ecosystem, and it's just I just don't want to not be able to give credit to everyone, because I think so. You know, I will give credit to everyone generally because I don't want to make anyone feel like they are not being seen, because they are. But it's the, you know, when we started Alephium, when we started having project building, we had like 3 dApps, so it was a lot easier to just
to talk about 3 dApps
and make sure that everyone was felt seen and appreciated the same. As we grow, it's harder, and on my end, I really want everyone to feel appreciated, and so I just you know, I prefer to stay
to keep it neutral.
to keep it high level, because yeah. But
no, that's that's fine. We will keep it neutral. Again, you know, it's up to us to dig the alpha. I'm sure we'll go back to the Discord and
I gave you a little bit about what happened.
Yeah, that was
the last month and a half, and I think out of this, there's already a lot of interesting things, and a lot more to come. So, and
amazing.
I'm happy to be here anytime to talk about Alephium, to talk about anything really. It's just, again,
no, thank you so much. Honestly, you are, somebody said here, you are one of the best leaders in the industry. You're always humble. You always come on, always answer questions, attend spaces, you know, do everything you can for the project. And like I said, for the Alephium family, you know, we've been a supporter in this channel, in this community of ALF through, you know, thick and thin. So we'd love to have you back, and thank you for literally surprising me with a lot of this stuff. You know, I'll have to go away and start analyzing where my bag needs to go. But anybody else have any questions? Otherwise, thank you so much. Have a wonderful night, and I'll leave the last words to you, Maud.
Well, but thank you. I think this will be my word to you, my word to the existing Alephium community, and my word to the upcoming Alephium community, hopefully. And again, whenever you invite me back, I'll be there to talk about anything you want. So thank you so much for having me. Enjoy your weekend and your family.
Thank you, guys. Enjoy your weekend. Take care.